I did the Afghan withdrawal. I'm Matt. One of the articles I chose to talk about today is an NSNBC article that's titled "Biden's Afghanistan Withdrawal Could Have Gone So Differently." The article I'm talking about is an ABC News article, and it's titled "Key Takeaways from the U.S. Military Leaders on the Afghan Withdrawal." And in the ABC News article, it kind of just talks about a Senate hearing about the whole Afghan withdrawal itself. So they talk about like the whole Afghan withdrawal in there. And in the NBC article, it is it's a journalist, so it's more of an interview type article, a lot more opinion in it about just leading up to Afghan withdrawal and the Afghan withdrawal itself. And I'm talking about Goebel and Aleem in the NBC article, and in the ABC's article I'm talking about McKenzie's, Milley, and Austin. I just kind of formatted it a little weird, so I just didn't want anyone to be confused who I'm talking about. Some of the similarities that I saw in the two articles were that they both agreed that the Afghan withdrawal was a total disaster and should have went totally different. And Adnan Goebel has lived in Afghanistan for many years and is an award-winning journalist. And in journalism, it can be very, very dangerous because in his profession, 1,189 reporters have been killed since 1992 to 2016. So it's very scary job to be doing on the front lines. And he agreed with Milley and McKenzie, which are high-ranking generals in our government, that no one could have predicted that the Taliban were capable of attacking as fast as they did. And then the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin and Goebel agreed that the Afghan troops were tired and had lost the will to win. And they both also agreed that the loss of air support and allied United States troops farther led to them not being able to defend off the Taliban. And this is a quick side note. This is actually Milley testifying in front of the Senate. And he was just testifying that, I told Biden that there needed to be more troops there. And I think if we had the troop presence there, I don't think the Taliban wouldn't have been afraid. They wouldn't have wanted to attack. And overall, it wouldn't have led to what it was. Because I think we only had less than 100 soldiers there during the whole withdrawal, so not good. And some differences I saw. In the NBC article, talking to Goebel, who lived in Afghanistan for years and saw firsthand what was occurring there. And then the other hand, like Milley and the McKenzie and all these high-ranking members in the government, even Lloyd Austin, the secretary, they never actually firsthand were there. They never firsthand saw everything that was occurring there. So their opinions were more like from just overseeing the Afghan withdrawal itself, and all the other guys' opinions were him actually being there and being able to see it for many years. In Capel, he was able to be there, so he knew exactly what needed to be done to officially have a good withdrawal from Afghanistan. And Aleem, who was the one talking to Goebel in the ABC News article, said 20 years of effort seemed to fall apart due to President Joe Biden's poor planning. But the reality is that the very speed of the collapse of the Afghan security forces requires a much deeper understanding of decades of U.S. policy failures in the country. So it kind of was saying, this isn't Joe Biden's fault. This is just how it was going to be anyway. Even though they rushed everything, it was poor planning, nothing was planned right. And then in the other article, Milley and McKenzie were not afraid to go right at Biden and in front of the Senate saying, hey, we told Biden that we needed more troops there many, many times. He refused many times. And just the ABC's article overall did not criticize Biden at all. and the other one was the MSNBC article criticized Biden throughout the whole thing. Some more differences I saw. Grobel said that what would have been the better way was if the U.S. government had secured a deal with the Taliban and had begun a process to transfer of power to them while the U.S. was still in the country. And he overall just thought that this would help lower tensions during withdrawal, because in the other article, Miley and McKenzie never mentioned anything about any plan. Like, there was no plan. Like, all these high-ranking members, like, they admit that it was rushed and there was no plan at all that would have. They didn't have good planning at all, and even the Secretary Austin said, we certainly did not plan against the collapse of the government in 11 days. Because the government collapsed in 11 days, so if they were to just begin that process, maybe of transfer of power to them already, they wouldn't have, I don't know, the whole, government just collapsed in 1 week pretty much, so need to do something different about that. And in the NBC article with Grobel, it was mentioned that he was able to interview people living in Afghanistan, obviously, and he witnessed all the hardships that they had faced, and he overall just knew how people were down there, and how the situation needed to be handled. Compared to Miley, McKenzie, and Austin,